Game 3, and we are on the play. We lost game 2, of course, which wasn't too nice. Mostly to greed. He did play very well. So, let's see what we've got going here. We had a mulligan down. We played a Conley Garden, and then he played his Soaring Sea Cliffs. We played a Fledgling and passed the turn, nothing we could do. Now, we played a card that pretty much won us this game. Although, I would like to talk about this turn right now. Let's get through the attacks to second main really quick. You'd have a rewind button on this, but what I should have done in hindsight is played the Glazing Gladeheart and then played the I'd have been able to swing for 2. The next turn I would have been able to swing for 5. And that was pretty much a downfall of my part. On top of it, I would have been able to equip the hammer on the turn, possibly if I had top decked a land that didn't come into play tapped, which would have been even bigger. But, you know, such is life, that didn't happen. So, it was a misplay. I also meant to play the Hammer of Ruin there. For some odd reason, my mind just blanked out. Like, I know what I should have done at least. So, those were just simple mistakes that really cost me the game. Now, this was interesting, because the minute he didn't play anything on turn 4, I should have thought that he had a Wrath of God effect in hand, because he had the double red up and the chain reaction is a Wrath of God effect. Top of it, I didn't attack, which was huge, and he just played chain reaction and blew the entire board up. And even the worst part of that whole thing was I could have had River Boa untapped, a land untapped, but I got really greedy and decided to play Hammer of Ruin. And greed is what ended up costing me. However, I did have the Journey to Nowhere, which was nice, but I was stuck on 4 lands, and I'm like, I was so angry. Now, this was probably the biggest crucial point in the match. He didn't advance his board here, which we already know. Well, you guys don't know what happens yet, but you know, when you have a Dread Statuary, it's more of a finisher. It's not something that, you know, you want to just use when you can get the opportunity to. It's a solid finisher, so he basically, yeah, he got 4 damage in and he got me to 18. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You know, I got my Core Sanctifiers, which I was stoked about, and Blazing Torch. And then he decided to get his Giant down and played an Adventure Guide. And I think he then was done with his turn. So, looking at our turn now. Avenger of Zendikar. Now, the biggest problem with what ended up happening was I was debating on the sideboard if I should have brought in my Nature's Claim, because he was playing Vapor Snare, and it's something you do need to, like, board in against, but I already had 3 things I thought I could beat it with, and, you know, I wasn't able to. Although, the attack with the hammer I thought was a great attack. It got me back in the game. You know, and the fact he didn't advance his board position really hurt him here. Now, this was just bad. I was so frustrated because I've been getting mana screwed and mana flooded with 18 lands consistently this entire tournament. So, of course, it was frustrating. Once he got Vapor Snare down, I was like, okay. Now, the interesting thing was, he has a Soaring Sea Cliffs, and he could have given the thing flying and hit me for 4 damage, but I actually had to get the torch off of the core and onto my Wolfbriar because I knew he was going to replay his Dread Statuary, so I had to be pretty careful about that. Now, the reason why I did this for the most part was so that I could, just straight out block the core sanctifiers and, block the Dread. The fact that he didn't activate the Soaring Sea Cliffs pretty much won me this game. If he had gotten that online, I would have lost. Blade Tusk Boar was something that was unexpected again, too. Cards like that, I could have seen it coming, but we ran into so much red that normally Blade Tusk Boar doesn't even make the main, because in a lot of these online sealeds, about 60% of the field is red, or 50% of the field's red, and 50%'s black. Very rarely are you not red or black, and you're either X red or X black. So now we're at 5 mana here. I blocked, of course. I don't know why he tapped the wolf. That was just mind-boggling to me. But I guess he wanted to kill, and he got his 2 for 1, and it ends up happening. I can't really play around it too well. This land was a huge land drop for me, by the way, because now I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th land, which basically leaves me one step closer to Avenger of Zendikar, and now I'm like, whatever, screw your little tapper, I'm gonna kill it. Now, the Aether Figment, I thought I was going to be on a clock here. I literally thought, this was it. I hit my 7th land, or that was my 7th land, I believe. Swung in. There's no reason for me not to attack. I can't block either one of those. And I can't attack with my wolf. And then played the Avenger of Zendikar, which... that won me the game right there. Now, I had a top deck of land, and again, it wasn't luck, it was some luck that came in, but it was more of him misplaying that gave us this game. So, we're going to examine it, and things we didn't do very well. Him not advancing his board, not returning the Sea Cliffs, and really, he's got 4 cards in hand. If he literally has a ton of land, if he had 3 lands in hand and he couldn't advance his board, I'd understand that, because we've all been there. He might have kept a loaded land hand and a chain reaction, just kind of hope to draw out of it. And I'm pretty sure we've done that before, so there's nothing wrong. But he swings for 6. Now he had 3 mana open, and he decided to not use the Dread Statuary, so he's going to play another creature, I figured, and, this was it then. Because what's going to end up happening is, what's going to end up happening is, if he did have some way of bouncing something, I'm sure he might have bounced the Avenger of Zendikar back, or, something like that back to my hand, maybe when I was attacking. So I couldn't have gotten through, but the game was pretty much over to begin with right here. So the minute I drew that land, it's good to go. Just kind of swung in for a lot of damage. Yeah. And that honestly helped me there. Now, I do know in his hand he said he had a way to give a creature flying, so I could have also drawn a flyer there for an out.